isn't joining us tonight. So, welcome, Jim.
Hi there, Santos. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, all the way from Tucson, Arizona. This is Coach Santos, all the way from Stockton, California. We're here to join you and the community, at least those of us that want to meet here for about 30, 40 minutes and grow forward. Looks like Coach Cephas is not going to be with us tonight. We've got a few things. We've got a title today. We've got a title, a topic by the name of remembering what? Remembering what
Remembering what?
you can do. Remembering what you can do. So that's the topic for tonight here. Episode number 360. We're going to be here 30 to 45 minutes or so. Time's going to go by very quick, so make sure you get in, buckle up, turn down all your distractions, put your air conditioning on, grab your pen, grab your tea, and turn down your television, what have you. We're going to be here for about 30 to 45 minutes. I welcome those of you that are here visiting by way of Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. And once again, I'm Coach Santos here out of Stockton, California, making it a super fantastic, terrific, over-the-top day, daily, in spite of my mistakes and my evils and what have you. And we've got Coach Jim all the way from Tucson, Arizona. So, Jim, remembering what you can do. So we're going to talk about some ideas here. You'll get some ideas, right? Remembering what? Remembering what? What you can do before you fall again. By the way, gambling is a big fat lie. Shout out to you that's watching. Thank you. Let us know who you are. We'd love to acknowledge you. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, when you say remembering what you can do, I think that oftentimes we get overwhelmed.
Remembering
You
what?
know, we kind of go in panic when
Yeah.
something happens to us. I mean, we're that catches us off guard. We kind of like we just kind of panic. We kind of forget, that we are capable of handling the situation. I was thinking that a lot of us get affected by or negatively by emotions. And, when you got that fear going or the anger going, it kind of shuts off that ability to think, in that logical, reasonable way of remembering what you can do. It's like it's that fight or flight, right, situation.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think that's something that we have to be aware of that being aware of our emotions, tempering that emotion, holding it at bay, and telling ourselves that we can we can get through whatever we're going through. Remembering that we can do um, things that are productive and positive for us. Um, sometimes I think that we often choose to be in the darkness, ignorance, because it's I don't know. It's almost like if you choose to be in the darkness, at least you don't have to be put in a position where you try something that you think you can do and fail. I mean,
Hmm.
that kind of situation is kind of devastating for a lot of people who've dealt with failure over and over again or perceived failure. Um, yeah, uh, knowing that you can do it and just kind of believing that self belief. I was always thinking about, before this program, I was thinking about how does self worth tie into your ability to pull that tool out, remembering what you can do. Self concept. If you have a low self concept, if you have a low self worth, I don't think it's very easy to go ahead and pull that tool out. That ability to say, wait, I know what to do. Hang on for a second. Let me go and stop here. I can figure this out. You know.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to go ahead and be able to focus our more of positive perception on us, and that just kind of takes time, and that takes initiative, and that takes energy. And it takes I think it takes a certain desire to. If you don't have a good self concept or a good self worth, I don't think it's easy for us to remember what we can do.
Yeah, that's why it's so important for us to have key people or a community or a tool of some sort that you can easily turn to. Again, tonight's topic is we're talking about remembering what? Remembering what? Want to thank you for watching. You're hanging out with us. By the way, want to let you know that gambling is a big fat lie, and so is every other addiction. Every pill that we take. We all take a pill, right? It's a pill. Everything's a pill. Whether it's a bottle, whether it's a cigarette, whether it's a smoke, whether it's a gamble, whether it's a slut machine, whether it's a little whether you bet on some horses running backwards. It's all a pill. We got to get away from taking the pill. So remembering what? Remembering what you can do. That's what we've been discussing here. We're going to be talking about this topic here. And it's before you fall again. There's something that you can do, right? Even if you fell, or you horribly fell, you disgraced yourself, you lost all your money, you got deceived, you got into an argument, you had road rage, you spent your last check. This was the check that you had that was supposed to pay specific bills at this point in time during the month, and you blew that. Well, there is something you can do, right? You got to remember what you can do. We have to remind ourselves. We have to be around places that can remind us, remind you of what is possible, what you can do. I was just thinking about a space of a little window of time, and your time is very valuable on the other side, by the way. So you know that your time has an element of mystery and dynamic. Your time, right? My time, your time, our time has an element of mystery. It also has an element of dynamic because you can take 15 minutes, you can take 5 minutes, you can take 30 minutes and begin changing your course of direction. You can begin changing your course of direction. Right, Jim? That's all it takes. It's just a few minutes of your time. Again, if you feel broken, if you feel like you've lost everything and you don't know what to do, this is going to be a good broadcast for you because we're going to be remembering. Remember this. By the way, I wrote this little book, 15-Minute Mornings, Breakfast of Champions, and I wasn't even thinking about this book when I got into episode number 360. This is really before you fall again. Jim likes to bring up the topic of choices. You mentioned that we all have the ability to make a choice, and we're stuck in one area. We're stuck. I'm here to remind you what you can do. By the way, gambling is a big fat lie.
Yeah, when you talk about time, it's interesting that a certain focus idea can allow you to go and create time for yourself in a positive way. It's like, what if I choose this direction versus that direction? If I choose to move away from the casino, my addiction, what kind of wonderful opportunities of time will I have? You can imagine, you can start imagining. It's like, shoot, I'll be able to go and pay my bills. I'll be able to go to the grocery store with no problem. I'd be able to, make rent, pay the mortgage, You create that time of peace, right, in your life. It's like
Great ideas. Yeah, you take that time and you create, and you use a life hack, right? You're talking about paying bills. You're talking about being taking care of your bills, taking care of your business. You can take 5 minutes, 10 minutes during that hardship that you're going through, and you can pull out the old handy dandy journal. That's one thing that we should be remembering, right? Man, I got a journal I can use. That's one thing that we can utilize when you say, I don't know what to do. I lost everything. I feel like I'm cooked. I feel like I'm dripping or slowly falling further and further into my own lonely, dark abyss. Right? You're getting closer and closer, man. You don't want to fall into that abyss, though. You definitely do not want to fall. You might feel like you're getting close, though. There's always something that you can do. Always something. You can look for community. You can look for a place like this once or twice a week where you can get remembered, or you're reminded. Our good lives are going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. I've been seeing that a lot, Jim. People, I don't know what to do. I blew all my money. I saved for 10 years and now I lost what I made last month and I got to start all over and I don't know how. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. There's something you can do. There most positively is something you can do. Yes. More ideas on this, Jim? I've got a few more here.
Yeah, the negative experiences that we have, there's a purpose for those negative experiences, the emotion that comes from the consequences for doing the wrong thing. There's a purpose in that, and it's to help us imagine, what can take place the next time we are given that opportunity, to go back to our addiction.
Yeah.
That pain, should be, a trigger, a button, it should be like, it should be like kind of like a warning that's planted in our mind. And when we approach that deal, it should go ahead and just, it's a trip the thought. Okay, I've been here before, I've been here before, and I chose this and I remember how this made me feel. I remember how it made me feel. I remember the consequence. I don't like that,
You're talking about, we're talking about ideas right now. We're talking about what you can do. Jim, you're mentioning self-talk right there, which is one of my you can take 15 to 30 minutes of your time. You've got mystery in your time, you've got dynamic. You're talking about ST here, Jim. You're talking about taking time to really look at what you're saying to yourself. How are you talking to yourself, right? You're kind of bringing up ST. I brought up journaling. You have to remind yourself of what you have. You must remind yourself there's always something you can do in the middle of your problem, in the middle of your loss, in the middle of you falling down. Gambling is a big fat lie. Gambling is a big fat lie. The only gamble that you should have going on in your life is to gamble for self-preservation. That's the best gamble that you can have, Jim, is self-preservation, right? But in the process of self-preservation, you don't want to become isolated where you feel like you have to do this all by yourself, for yourself. That can become a stumbling block. We are to service, we are to give. That's part of our recovery, right? You shut down, you become a recluse, and you want to try to do this all by yourself. I'm strong. I got it. I don't need Coach Santos. I don't need his book. I don't need YouTube. I don't need Jim. Many have told me that, in not directly, and today I don't even see them in the community anymore. They're not even coming around anymore. What's happened to these individuals? They knew more than I. They knew more than you, Jim, but they're no longer around. Something's happened to them. Hopefully they've made it to the top. Hopefully you've made it to the top. Shout out to Facebook right now. Shout out to YouTube, Twitch. If you have a question you want to ask, You got a comment, you want to come on the screen, you can join us on camera right here. By the way, Sunday we're going to have Herbie Mack. He's a suicide prevention counselor. He's an overcomer. He's gone through a lot of trauma in his life. He's going to be with us on Sunday, sharing how he lives his life victoriously and how he has made it to where he has, coming from a very, very dark, dismal past. So this Sunday, Herbie Mack is going to be with us. We tried to have him on, and the episode didn't come through. Anyways, he's going to be joining us on Sunday, so we want to make sure we bring that up. And if you feel supported in some way, I'm going to ask you to support this mission. Give a like. You can give a thumbs up. You can leave a comment. You can share. Or you can just sit there watching and do absolutely nothing. Will you get something out of this? Only you'll be able to determine that one. You give of what you give. You give your time and you pay attention to something that's important, you're going to get something out of it because you're giving. You're giving of yourself. You're giving of your time. One other thing, actually, there's quite a few things. We'll be talking a little bit more about these things in the next episode also. Remembering what you can do. You could do some exercise, right? Self-talk. If you want to get back to that, Jim, you can. That's basically where you're really talking to yourself out of something, or talking to yourself into something. And you do this all the time. You talk to yourself into something, or in your thought process also, and you talk to yourself out of things. It's kind of mind-mouth power, either congruency or disformity, I guess. Because if this and this ain't working together, you fall and you make a mistake, like I did, like I do. Am I the only one? So, we talked about journalism. We talked about self-talk a little bit. That's powerful, folks. Self-talk is powerful, extremely powerful. One of the most powerful gifts that we have available. The other one is to do some exercise. Get some blood and oxygen going on the inside. Will that help you in some way? Blood and oxygen flowing through your body. What does blood do for you? What does oxygen do for you? For 10, 15 minutes that you can do that once or twice a day. Would it help you? What do you think, Jim?
Yeah. I mean, physical, you got to take care of the mind. You got to take care of the body. The body has a tremendous effect on how we think and feel. A person, who's always full of anxiety thinks the solution is a bunch of Prozac and Paxil,
Yeah.
I tell you, that's a dangerous road right over there. I mean, it's easy to pop a pill, but you know what? If you knew that a nice walk outside, a little bit of exercise and fresh air can dramatically change the mood during an anxious moment, during a bad time, And if you knew that, you can make better decisions. I was just thinking about this. You're talking about, what can we do? You see, I mean, I think that life is life is a gamble, right? It's a game. Right? In order to play the game well, you got to know the rules. You got to know the game. You see, look, if you're going to go and play blackjack, you want to go and, play poker, right? And if you want to be successful at that, you better go and learn how to go out and be successful. But if you don't learn it, it's just like taking the wheel, taking the controls of an airplane, right? And then pulling the throttle, right? You don't know what you're doing. You're going to go and crash and burn, right? That's life right there.
Mm-hmm.
We got to know. We got to learn. We got to understand what's going on. If we don't want to learn it, you know what? We need to avoid it because there's pitfalls. If we want to go ahead and jump in, let's learn the rules. Let's learn. Let's go and try to get the information, the good information, as much as we can and practice. Because it's like you either going to go out and you can't. What is it? you can't do it half-assed, because half-assed is just going to go on and rip you to shreds in a
Hmm.
lot of situations. Life and death. Gambling's life and death. Drugs are life and death. Alcohol, all that stuff. I mean, there's serious consequences, to the choices that we make in life in this game, right? If we choose to go and play these kinds of things, if you can't handle it, you got to avoid it. I mean, if you like it, well, you better learn how to handle it.
Yeah, you got to learn if you're going to gamble. If you're going to continue to gamble, you better get good at it. You better learn how to defeat the system somehow, some way. That's the only choice that you have there. Most people are going to say, "Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget." I'm going to tell you, remember, remember, remember this, remember that, remember who you are, remember where you're at, remembering what you can do.
I
And
always
that's
think it's important.
episode number 360.
I always think it's important to, you know, do your best at making associations and making connections and seeing the connections. If something happens, that should trigger something in your mind, good or bad. You know, you know. I mean, it's just the simplest thing. I mean, people talk about karma, and making one choice versus another. If I choose to go ahead and be very negative, let's say on a social media post, right? I ask myself, how does that affect me? What do I turn into? What direction do I go in if I make this choice? Everything affects everything. I mean, we have to go and be very, very careful about what we think and what we choose to do, because it has an impact. It pushes us in a certain direction. And I think it's important, you said, we can do certain things, and we can go and be aware of what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and what we're doing.
Yeah.
We can go and be aware, and we can go ahead and have that moment where we can stop, take a deep breath, like you talked about, and start thinking, start analyzing. Is this good for me to think like this, or is this bad? You know, is this good in the long run, or is it bad? What do I have to gain? What do I have to lose? My goodness, just a little pause and thinking about that can make
Hmm.
the difference from you getting off on that exit to the casino or staying on the road, going home. You know what I mean? I mean, just
Yeah.
a little thought like that.
Yeah. There's within just a window. Like I said earlier, our time has mystery in it. There's something mysterious about the hours that go by every day. There's things that you may have missed. There's things that you have remembered or you thought about. There's a mysterious element. And we're talking about things that you can do when before you fall, or even when you hit the ground hard and you feel like the end is over. You feel like you're another day closer to your abyss, the place that you've been trying to avoid for many, many years. Once you fall into the abyss, that's like game over. Some people fall in there and they can never come out. They end up perishing in that state. It's kind of weird. I don't like to think about that too much. We talked about doing some life hacks, right? 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minutes, within 15 to 30 minutes. And I did write this book, by the way. It's wasn't in mind when I was thinking about this. Something else, again, when you exercise, it brings blood. I want to talk about that a little bit. What is blood in your body? What is oxygen? What does blood do? When you don't get enough blood, you lack circulation. If you don't get enough blood to your brain, you begin to lose your brain, your thoughts, your ability to really become more confident becomes atrophied. So it's good to exercise for 5 or 10 minutes when you have a difficult day or you have a difficult time or you're heading into something that you know could be problematic. A walk, a 5 minute walk, running in place for a couple of minutes. That's oxygen flowing through your body. We need more of it. Even just breathing. You fell hard. You lost all your money. Well, take some deep breaths. What's that going to do for me, Santos? Is that going to put more money in the bank account? Well, it may help you get a thought, right? More energy, more blood circulation, creating oxygen for your body. It's like creating oxytocin, I believe, or what is it? You want that that drip. You want that chemical drip, that emotional drip that's going to keep you moving in the right direction. We're going about it the wrong way, though. Gambling is a big fat lie. Gambling is a big fat lie. I'll say it again. Hello, Laura. Hello, City by the Bay. Jim, there's a question for Jim here. Sugar beer, huh? I used to cross multiple rivers just to get to the casino for the weekend. That's a problem. Yeah. Um, Let me see. We're looking at, by the way, we're coming down. We've got a few more minutes left of this broadcast. If you enjoyed the broadcast, I'm asking you guys, let's help others. Let's help others. If you can donate, you can donate. If you can share this video, if you can share another video, if you can leave a comment, if you can leave a thumbs up, that if you're not subscribed, I'm going to invite you to subscribe. That helps this community. That helps all of us work together, stay motivated, stay fired up, right? Because you want to remember good things. The Bible scripture, which I should have read, but I didn't, in Philippians chapter 4, it says, think on these things that are of good virtue, things that are right, things that are lovely, things that have truth in them. It is a reference to focus on the word of God. Yet it is also good to focus on good things, natural things, right? A good time of journaling, a good time of self-talk, a good few minutes of looking at yourself in the mirror. You're desperate. You don't know what to do. You're falling apart. You're ashamed. You've got collateral damage, as Jim said at one time. You've got collateral damage happening. You must remember what you can do. You must be reminded. People going around saying, hey, don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do the other thing. Don't forget. I'm telling you, remember this. Remember what you can do. Remember what you can do. So, Jim, do you still have temptations to bet, or have you completely got rid of this addiction?
Well,
There's
about the cryptocurrencies and stocks. You know, it's very, very stressful when we're talking about when things are going up. You know, because when you're thinking about that, you feel that you're gonna lose. You see, because when you don't play the game, you see, well, it's going up, it's going up. And you know, when you see that stock or the cryptocurrency go up, it's very painful when you didn't buy it, you see. So there's a feeling of I gotta chase it. But I learned that when you chase that kind of nonsense, you're gonna get chances are you're gonna go and get knocked down. And you know, there's circumstances where it is a good time to buy, but like I said before, you got to know how to play the game right. I mean, there's something called dollar cost averaging. You know, don't buy everything at once. You know, it's like, oh, but I can go ahead and make so much in a short amount of time. Oh, yeah, you can go and lose a lot in a short amount of time. You know, are you willing to go ahead and take that?
yeah.
Yeah, are you willing to take that? I tell you, it's emotional roller coaster. And that's the thing. That's the biggest problem in gambling and stocks. Having your emotions carry you to make bad choices. You know, so I'm aware of my emotions. Do I get angry when the stock goes up and I didn't buy it, or the cryptocurrency? Yes, I get angry. I get frustrated. I look at that stuff. Yeah, but you know what? I don't buy. I don't buy. Why? Because I know the consequences. You know, I mean, and sometimes it's just a change of focus. You go through all that hell. You know what? I'm not going to go through this anymore because it's just not worth it. It's not worth wasting my time. It's not worth wasting my energy on focusing on this nonsense. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it in a safe way. Dollar cost average, you know, and forget about it because I have other things to do in my life. You know, I've been there, I've done that, and I say, no more. I don't want that stuff anymore. You see, so I mean, temptation comes, right? Sure. Temptation comes when everything's going up, you know. But yeah, I just remember those awful times. If you remember, if you associate, that kind of stuff, with what happened before, I think you'll make better decisions. Better decisions. It's like,
Yeah.
and that's a
Yeah.
effort right there. We got to go ahead and be sensitive to our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. What's going on? We got to be sensitive. We have to think, what is this going to do for me? Why am I feeling this way? You know, does this feeling remind me of something that happened in the past? Was this good or was this bad? You know, and then
Yeah.
that time, that space that allows you to say, you know what? I think I'm going to go and make a little better decision. I think I'm going to go ahead and choose another, even though it feels, that I want to move in one direction. It's like, no, no.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, folks, we've got a few minutes left here on this broadcast. Appreciate the interaction. It's a matter of, again, if the further that we get away from the good sources, the harder it gets for our lives to stay on track. Sometimes in life we have to get hit pretty hard to wake up. That happens. Sometimes we have to get hit really hard to wake up. And sometimes we're just at the right place at the right time where we feel inspired and motivated to make a decision. So there is something you can do if you feel broke, if you feel lost, if you feel like you walk backwards or you've been walking backwards. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you've been a part of this community, a part of this episode number 360. And just remember something here. Remember, right? Don't forget to do this or do the other thing. No, remember what you can do. What Jim talked about, shared some wise words with us. What I'm bringing up here, life hacks that you have available to you. They're cost free, right? Self talk, video therapy. Well, video therapy isn't necessarily free because you have to pay for Wi Fi in order to use digital equipment. So it's not necessarily free, but video therapy is very healthy. It's very effective too when you use it and practice it. Exercise is very effective also. It helps you produce more oxygen, right? Even just simply breathing, as I said earlier, taking a deep breath times three, holding it for a little bit, thinking about the good things, thinking about the bad things, getting rid of the bad things, doing that. That's really good for your insides. Taking in all that excess, those deep breaths, it helps bring in oxygen. Video therapy is very subliminal. If you understand what subliminal means, right? It's kind of behind the scenes. When you watch a video, like that's why going to a casino is so dangerous. Because when you walk into a casino, it's almost like you're hallucinating when you look at the place. There's no clocks. The bends in the building are kind of strange. The ceilings are strange. The music is off. And the carpets are there to kind of make you feel like you're walking around in Alice in Wonderland. All of that is all set up to put you in a state. So it is all subliminal. That is very subliminal too, especially when you're watching the machines over and over. They go real fast, those spins, and then you hit 776, right? Or star 5, and it's almost like you're going to hit near wins, right? And you're being programmed as you're watching these machines over and over and over. You walk out of there and you start talking to yourself negative. Why can't I beat this thing? Why can't I do this? Why does every time that I win, I lose? Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. You're being rewired. Your behaviors, you're your behavior is basically going to display the wiring that's going on in your brain. So all you got to do is, if you were able to videotape yourself all day, woo, that'd be kind of scary, wouldn't it? Don't want anybody to see that one. Imagine if you could see a videotape of yourself over a day or two, what you're doing. That's what video therapy is all about. And call someone. You have the ability to call someone, a counselor, a coach, a friend. You can pray to Jesus. You can read the scriptures. You can call upon the Most High. That's another great option that we all have that we're not taking advantage of. Well, I don't know how to pray. I don't go to church. I don't know what book to read. Simple. You pick up the King James Bible. You ask God for His grace. You admit it, right? I'm a sinner. I'm stuck. I don't know the way. All I can do is hope and pray. Maybe you might give me some grace. Maybe. Amen. You go on your way. You never know what a prayer is going to do. You never know what God is calling you to do. Maybe within that prayer is going to be found your mission. Within that prayer is going to be found your mission. So there is something you can do instead of just saying, I don't know what to do. All right, we're almost done here. I'm looking for a question or two. If not, we're going to be ending the broadcast in about 5 to 10 minutes. Jim, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that you were talking about those slot machines, numbers coming up, and I was thinking about some other videos of people who are depressed. They talk about, how come friends don't contact me to do things? And it seems like what you talked about, what I watched, seems like a lot of us like to depend upon the external, the stuff that's out there, our emotional well-being, our financial well-being, our success, our self-perception is based upon everything out there. You see, we're depending upon too much of the external, and there's some scripture, right? There's some scripture, famous scripture, right, that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? I can do all things,
13. Yeah.
Everything, right? I depend upon me. I can depend upon me. You go ahead and meditate on that scripture right there. I don't need those machines. I don't need those people. I don't need those things. I have the ability. I can depend upon myself for picking my head up in spite of, you talked about in spite of and because of, in spite of me having a bad loss, a bad beat, a bad day. I felt I devastated. I was watching a video of a woman who was sober 3 years from alcohol. And she, one situation, caused her to drink some wine, and she was devastated over that. You see? And you know what? I don't have to, she doesn't have to depend upon that external event. So you know what? I fell, but I depend upon me. I can overcome that. I can overcome that. And picking your head up, we talk about what we can do. We can change the way we think, right? We can go ahead and choose to say, I can pick up my head in spite of all the negative things that, that I've done or what has happened. I can do this. I can pick up my head and say, you know what? I can beat this thing. I can beat this thing. I'll find out a way. I'll figure out a way.
I'll find a video. I'll find a podcast. I'll find a book. I'll find somebody to call. I'll find a journal. I'll dictate to a journal if I can't write it out. I'll start some exercise program that'll create more blood flow in my life and more oxygen for me to think. Your brain uses a lot of energy during the day and kind of gets tired. I know at nighttime we get tired. The more oxygen, the more blood we've got flowing through our body in the right way, the better. You can have blood flowing and you can have oxygen floating around, more of it. You can have more blood flow in the casino too. Is that the healthier way to do it? because you can do it, right? You can get excited and then you can go down. You can get excited, you can go down. Near wins, up, down. Loss, down. Win, oh yeah, I almost I almost got 3 sevens. Up, and you're especially when you're running out of money, you begin to start thinking, man, how can I get more money? How can I get more money? What do I need to do? What do I need to do to keep these machines? I got to get this flow going. I was almost winning. You don't want to be remembering that. Well, you want to be remembering what it is that you can do, what it is that you should be doing. That's what this episode number 360 was all about. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this encouragement, motivation, because once we're off the air, obviously, your motivation and your inspiration goes down a lot. It's just a fact. I know I watch a video sometimes, or I read a book, or I read the Bible, and as soon as I walk away from it, I feel deflated, like a balloon. Gone. We must remember. You must remember. I have a call to action here. Thank you guys for hanging out. City by the Bay, Laura, Fulgencio. Thank you for that wonderful message that you sent us here. City by the Gate, City by the Gate, City by the Gate, City by the Bay. Glad you're here. Come back again. Again, this community is all about restructuring, figuring out what works, what doesn't work, and how do we find ourselves to really, really push harder for the next run? How do you find yourself? Where do you need to go? What do you need to do? Who do you need to talk to? What do you need to listen to? What is it that you need to write down? Have you read your poem? Have you read your poem? Have you written your poem? Have you recognized that gambling is a big, fat lie? Big, fat one. All right. Jim, give us a minute or two here. We got 3 minutes left. Give us a minute or two. We're going to close the broadcast and thank all of you guys by way of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Yeah.
I think you talked about what can you do. That was a topic of today. And I think
remembering what you can do. Yes.
And I think one of the things that you talked about is take a deep breath and pause. Pause and think. How can I be better? How can I be better? How can I be better? We have that choice of pausing. We have the choice of thinking, and we have the choice of figuring out what direction we want to think. What is the best direction of thought that I can go ahead and do for myself?
Yep. What is the best direction? What is the best decision? What is the best thing that I could do for myself, right? And remember others. When you're bettering yourself, you're bettering others too. May not seem that way. Eventually, you start to share more of yourself, your story, right? You give of what you can, your resources, maybe $1, $5, whatever it is that you give. Maybe you have the ability to edit videos or to proofread a book. All the things that we got to go through here at Soldiers of Self-Mastery. All of those wonderful things. Editing, video editing, looking for ways to share this message that we have. And again, looking for those individuals that are seriously hungry. You're tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's my desire, is to help you get a hold of yourself and just claim the victory and work on that honorable decision, right? Write a poem for yourself. That's my call to action. Write something good for yourself. Write a little poem, three sentences, 4 sentences. Remind yourself of something that you have available that you haven't really looked at. You haven't really taken advantage of, but you can, and you surely will the next time before you fall. There's a life hack. There's something that you can do. So write your poem. And if you haven't written your poem, well, maybe you will never write your poem, right? But I hope that you recover from whatever it is that is tripping you up. I hope that you do recover. And this is a safe place to hang out. All right, Jim, I'm done with the broadcast. We're going to be back here on Sunday. Once again, we'll have Herbie Mack with us, suicide prevention counselor, overcomer of suicide and alcoholism and trauma. Curious to hear how he's doing today. Herbie Mack, he'll be with us on Sunday. So With that said, I have nothing more. Jim, last few seconds. I'll give it to you this time.
All right. Well, that's it. You have a great week. I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday. Yeah, and stay cool. It's hot.
Yes, it is. All right. All the way from Tucson, Arizona to you guys, all the way from Stockton, California. This has been episode number 360. I don't know why I mentioned that so many times this time around, but I did. We'll catch you Sunday at the top. Will I see you at the top on Sunday at 7:30?
Take care. Have a good one.
Thank you, Jim, for hanging out.